Good afternoon. I am Kitty Morris. I'm an attorney here at Community Legal Services. Welcome back to Tenant Tuesdays at 2, our weekly conversation on issues related to tenants living in the city of Philadelphia. Today's program will be limited to 10 minutes. If you have a landlord-tenant issue and you are in need of assistance, feel free to give our hotline a call at 267-443-2500. We must create space and continue to be proactive in our advocacy on behalf of vulnerable communities here in the city of Philadelphia and throughout the United States. And as we speak right now, Councilmember Brooks is hosting a virtual town hall on COVID-19 in the Black community. It's streaming both on her Facebook page and also on 96.1 FM, and we encourage all who are able to join that conversation. I want to take a moment to thank all of you for your continued support and how you continue to show up in spaces on behalf of our vulnerable communities here in Philadelphia. And at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Vikram and Lauren for 2 brief call to actions or support for our local communities here in Philadelphia. Thanks.
Great. I'll start by talking about the Philadelphia Eviction Prevention Project. It's otherwise known as PEP. PEP started in late 2017 under growing local and national awareness that evictions were a crisis, and especially a crisis of racial justice, as evictions disproportionately affect women of color. So in 2017, the city came together with local legal service providers and social service providers to create the Philadelphia Eviction Prevention Project. And in this, CLS is a lead agency, and we provide legal representation and eviction defense. PEP also provides courtroom navigators, lawyers of the day, financial counseling through our partners, pro bono representation. And it's a coordination of 7 or 6 different agencies. So it is really the premier eviction defense program in the city. Unfortunately, right now, under the mayor's budget, it's facing a 75% cut. And so we, along with our movement allies and our partners in this work, we're calling on council to increase the budget and keep it level to prior funding levels and to avoid these really drastic cuts. So the call to action today is, as you're able, be in touch with your city council members, call, email, tweet, share on social media to say that eviction defense is really crucial right now, especially during a pandemic when 2,000 renters are facing eviction as soon as the courts reopen. If you need any additional information, we can go to our website at phillytenant.org/PEP, phillytenant.org/PEPP, and that gives you a little bit of information about the program, or feel free to be in touch with us at CLS. So thanks in advance for your support. And I'll turn it over to Vikram.
Thank you, Lauren. So in addition to PEP going through City Council right now, with the budget, we also have 6 bills, 6 housing bills going through City Council. 2 of which were introduced by Councilmember Gim, 2 by Councilmember Brooks, who is speaking later today. We encourage you once again to tune into her town hall, and then also Councilmember Gauthier. So on Friday, the 6 bills were heard by the Housing Committee, the Standing Committee for Housing, which is chaired by Councilmember Gauthier. It was in fact her first time chairing the committee. So first, that was exciting. It was a long day. I don't know if anybody in the audience had a chance to watch it, but I would recommend doing so. I mean, there was a lot of very powerful testimony. This housing crisis. It's brought on by, it's it's affecting our communities in a way that has never been before, right? With COVID-19, which is why we have these 6 bills going through committee right now. But we heard from tenant advocates across the city. We heard from people who are being affected by COVID-19. We heard from people who are despite that we're in a pandemic and many people are working together, are still being illegally locked out by their landlords or being threatened to be evicted. So the 6 bills that were heard were a bill to create a diversion program, a bill canceling late fees for late rent, a rent stabilization bill, got my list here, a bill, just as we brought up just a second ago, was about illegal lockouts, a bill creating more stringent penalties for landlords who do illegally lock out a tenant, and then an eviction moratorium until the end of the COVID-19 period, which one of the, I guess, the developments from last week was that they pinned August as the end date. Originally, it was the 2 months after the end of the emergency period, but through some negotiations last week, it was pinned as a date certain in August. And then finally, last one is payment agreements. We have record unemployment in Pennsylvania right now, and so it's going to take time for people to get back on their feet. So we're also looking to create time so that way tenants and landlords can work together so that landlords can be made whole, but none of these tenants during this time face housing instability. So we had hours of testimony on Friday, but also throughout last week, Brooks, Gims, and Gauthier's staff met with a number of organizations and have been negotiating amendments to these bills that were distributed on Friday. It seemed like some of the council members on the committee wanted some more time to consider these new amendments, and so it's been pushed to this coming Friday for another housing committee meeting. So tune in on Friday at 8:30, and these bills will be up for consideration again. But the ask that we have of you is to talk to the members of the committee, express to them how important these bills are to your lives, how COVID-19 has affected your housing, how you're needing the time and space to work with your landlords to make sure that you have stability in your housing. So just a quick list: the members of the committee are Councilmember Gauthier, Jones, Quinones Sanchez, Bass, Gilmore Richardson, Squilla, Dom, and Brooks. So if you have the time this week, please call their offices, email their offices, even if it's just a short message, just saying I express support for the 6 bills that are part of the Emergency Housing Protection Act. It goes a long way just to show that there's support in the community, and we can do our best to then get these bills passed so that tenants have the protections that they need during this time.
We do always encourage tenants to call to their city council members and share their story and share how you've been impacted by the current crisis and why it's important for there to be comprehensive housing protections for vulnerable tenants throughout the city of Philadelphia. So once again, we thank you for joining us today. This has been a very short broadcast with three very important takeaways. Councilmember Brooks is live right now having a super important, super relevant discussion about how COVID-19 is impacting the Black community here in Philadelphia. And as Lauren mentioned, the Philadelphia Eviction Prevention Project, which is a real model for eviction defense in the city of Philadelphia that is currently under threat through the current budget crisis, which is also related to the pandemic, and the disproportionate impacts will continue. So we need to address that. And as Victor mentioned, these 6 very important bills are now sitting in city council, and your council members really need to hear from you about why this is important and how this will make your life better. So thank you for your continued support. Thank you for joining us. And we encourage you to check out Councilmember Brooks' live session, either through her Facebook Live page or by listening in at 96.1 FM. So thank you all and have a great day. Bye.